Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in the second chapter, Matra Sparshaastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha Agama Payino Nityas Tam Titikshvasya Bharata. The meaning is the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So Bhagavad Gita instructions, they are the directions for humanity. Small children gets disturbed when they don't receive a gift, or when they are being told that we will go outside and suppose the program get cancelled, they'll get very disturbed. 20-30 years back, when there was only Doordarshan and other channels were not yet come, children used to sit in one home with one channel. 20-30 children used to sit in one veranda, and they used to see one serial, one cartoon in a week, one film in a week. And when there is some suspense happening about when two people are fighting, the hero is fighting with the other, with the villains, they both are beating, punching each other, and when there is a lot of excitement, what will happen? Suddenly the power is to go away. And everybody will, oh, what will happen? Then, after some 10-20 minutes, again power will come. By that time, either the movie would have got over, or sometimes the movie is still going on and something else will be happening. So they will go to the neighbors or ask somebody what happened. So these were the kind of feelings which they were to naturally tolerate it. Now, in spite of we having 200 channels, 300 channels, I think now it's even more, 1000 channels. One moment something they are seeing or seen and they felt this is not all right. Okay, change one more. There is one university called Pragrah University, and this university they do research and they have educational videos on it. So they have done a research on something called vitamin N. Vitamin N means you should be able to say N means no. We have heard vitamin A, B, C, D. Like if you want, your eyes are not properly, you are not able to see, or then vitamin A food is recommended. Then vitamin C is recommended, lemon and such kind of things which are good for skin, good for digestion, immunity. Lot of things were recommended that we have to take vitamins, greens, pulses. So these are all good for our body. But there is something which is good for our brains, not through nutrition. This is training our mind to say no. They have seen research, a rich man's kid, or it's not any rich man, a pampered kid. When you give them something, a mobile, and after some days they become bored, they'll go and ask, I want a better one, I don't want this. So these parents, they'll again get them because they want to give the best to the children. They'll give them again a new one. Then again the child will get bored with it. Again one more they will get. So they have done research that this kind of children who are not being provided by their parents vitamin N. This vitamin N is to say no. When you are not able to tolerate no, that means in your life you will always be no person only. You will never be satisfied. When little love is given to even a dog, you give little broken bread crumbs, broken biscuits to some dog, especially stray dogs, when you are walking and going, they come behind that person. There is a story of a dog in the real life, somewhere it happened, where the dog, after the owner passed away, he died, it was waiting it for him for 10 years, thinking that the master will again come back without proper food, and finally the dog died. There are many histories where the animals have been showing a lot of affection, regards for the masters. So we have seen even horses also, when kings used to go and fight, it used to be there up to the end. We know one famous Rajput king, Rana Pratap. I think his horse name was called Chetak. So he that died, or it protected the king even up to the last stage. So many examples are there that even if you show little affection to animals, they show a lot of affection back. In human being, it's supposed to be multiplied affection which should be coming back. Whereas nowadays, even after we are given good education and parents are giving everything what we want, still the children who are being denied what they are denied, they are given everything but they are not given vitamin N. So they are not having the nutrition in the mind of one factor called tolerance, which is what is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, that matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparsha is our sense perception. Our senses are there. They are supplied with, we are seeing something, we are hearing something, we are smelling something. Some animals, when you are given a food to a dog and you are trying to remove something from his mouth, it will be growling. Grrr, it will do. It's animal, you can understand. But a human being, suppose something is taken away from his hand. We were walking and going near a bus stand, and there some children were playing, and two children, when they are playing, one girl child, she is moving around and playing with her brother, maybe 1 year older or younger. So this boy child, he is beating his sister, he is punching her. So we got worried what they are doing. So then because they were playing, why they are beating, so mother and father were trying to separate them. He took away my toy. He took away my toy. You would have seen many times children, they will be fighting. But can you imagine in our generation, previous generations, whenever there is something which has to be given, mother or father will say, "Oh, my son, my daughter, they are younger to you, please give to them." So the elder daughter or a son, they will feel, "Oh, my parents always support my younger siblings only, my younger sister or my younger brother, they are supporting them, they are not supporting me." But after some time, when they grow, they become more mature, they will understand, no, it was for my benefit, for my sister or brother benefit, they are telling me, that's all right. And they start getting some kind of responsibility, a kind of satisfaction. Oh, I am a grown-up person. Even though they would have been 5 years old and somebody will be 3 years old, they start feeling a sense of parently feeling towards their younger generation. Their younger siblings, maybe they want something, they will say, please don't cry. They become little more possessive about them. At a later stages, they start commanding them, hey, don't do this, be careful. Then leaving aside the negative part of it, let us take only the positive part of it. These are the teachings, these are the learnings. Forbearance. Forbearance means to be able to tolerate even at the kind of provocation. Is one of the item of knowledge mentioned in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, that if you are having forbearance, you will not get provoked by ordinary people. If you want somebody to agitate you, it should be a very logical reason. If you are getting provoked by ordinary things, you are a very, very ordinary person. See, rain is coming. A tree will not get shaken up like that. It will require cyclone to pull it like that. Similarly, a person who is been deeply grounded, he will not shake for some winds, storm comes, and even storm comes, the rain comes, it stands, and after that it goes away. The tree which is deeply rooted down, it doesn't shake like that. So people with strong grounded gravity, with value systems, they know how to face the world even with adversities. Life will not go on the way we want. The world is designed in such a way that the life will be always having speed breakers. The milestones where we are traveling, we have to achieve after crossing lot of pothole roads, humps, lot of breakdowns may happen. But in spite of that, we will never worry. No, let us move forward, let us go, let us move forward. When you are sitting in a crowded vehicle in the train, if you are reaching a nearby railway station where it is your native place, and you are traveling from the previous place where your office, or you are to traveling back to your village, to your hometown, those difficulties when you are standing in the bus or train will not really disturb you, because you know next 1 hour I am reaching my destination. People generally ask only this question: why difficulties come only to me? I am trying to be a good person. I try to do always good to others, but I see that there are other people, they always do bad work, bad things, and they always harm others. Those people will never die. A pandemic happened, so many people are dying, but still there are certain people who always do bad to others. Nothing will happen to them. Why is it happening like that? Why God doesn't punish them? This world itself is meant for prisoners. They are A-class prisoners, B-class prisoners. Maybe we are C or D-class prisoners. We may not be given the facility like a A-class prisoner or B-class prisoner. But that prisoner also has to go through a jail life only. If he is there in A class or B class, what should be our concern? Somehow or the other, let me go out of the jail. Not that I get promoted from D class jail or C class jail to B class jail, and I also one day will become a prisoner like him, where I get all facilities. Nobody will desire, I want to be in a jail. Similarly, nobody would like to have pushing here and manhandling. Nobody likes. But we tolerate when we are traveling in a journey to get down and reach our destination. So this world is a place of miseries, and one should learn how to tolerate. And this, in our Vedic history, Puranas, they give lot of examples. Like Prahalad Maharaj, he was always being tortured by his father, but he always tolerated. He was not thinking that, okay, I am being put into problems, so let me stop doing my devotion to Lord Vishnu. No, he continued. He tolerated. If you see a lot of freedom fighters, they are fighting for freedom. So when they are fighting for freedom, the first thing what they should learn is tolerance. Tolerance is a very important activity. If you tolerate pain, you will always grow. If you tolerate insults from others, you will become a very mature adult. Especially in the childhood, if you have been tortured by some words, it will teach you that I should tolerate and grow. For this you require to go to a proper teacher. Otherwise, lot of criminal records are there. In my childhood, somebody harassed me. That's why I also started learning how to harass others. So just experience is not sufficient. Experience with knowledge, guidance and wisdom is important. You have to become a sober person. If you are a sober person, you will know how to use wisdom in the world. Otherwise, we will be only being harassed by others. We also learn how to harass others. So, we are talking about vitamin N. This vitamin N, why it is so important? This vitamin N is important so that who has grown adult by not taking vitamin N, who was dissatisfied with his parents, he will expect the same thing with life partner. If he is a boy, then with a girl, or if he is a girl with a boy, he will always think they should serve me. When he is having children, he will not try to serve the children. He will be thinking the children should serve me. When he is going to the office, he will be thinking everybody should satisfy me. He wants to be the center of everyone. So Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, no, that is not right. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Sparsha, the touch or the sense perception what you are having, it is exactly Sitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha. Shita and Ushna is like hot and cold. It's like seasonal changes. They are like seasonal change. Not that every time there will be winter. Not that every time there will be summer. So please tolerate. Similarly, when somebody praises us, you are such a nice man, you are such a beautiful girl, you get so much carried away. You feel so nice, so happy. Somebody tries to criticize you, what kind of person you are. If they criticize us, very insulted. No, I am not such a kind of person. It's actually, if somebody is scolding us, it's not that whatever they are scolding is right. But suppose the same scolding is done by our school teacher who is very much connected to us. There are guides, there are well-wishers. Such kind of scolding and such kind of insult, we should not take it like a revenge on them. We should not be thinking that this school teacher has scolded me, I will kill them. No, never. When a family member or a teacher, a well-wisher, they are scolding us, it is for our benefit. maybe in few sessions earlier we would have discussed about one king, Nawab Hussain Shah. He was a Nawab of Bengal, and he was in his childhood time he was working for a Hindu Jamindar as a servant. So later he somehow, like we have seen in other Nawab histories also, how they kill their father or somebody, and somehow they also get into Nawab position. Why even Shah Jahan's son Aurangzeb, he put Shah Jahan in jail. So similarly, this Nawab Hussain Shah had become a big Nawab, and one day his queen noticed that on his back there were some whip marks. So somebody has beaten him in the childhood. She could make out, what is this marks on your back? So he said when he was a servant in the Hindu Jamindar house, so he was being, once he had tried to do some stealing or some mischief, and that Jamindar had beaten him. So she said, now you are a Nawab. You should bring him and cut off his head. You kill him. So his queen told like that. So he said, no. He was my well-wisher. He has done good for me. See, even a person who has got to that position, he is having power, but still he doesn't want to use that power for killing somebody, especially his well-wisher. The vitamin N, when properly administered, if they are tolerated, even a cruel person doesn't want to kill a well-wisher. So these are the things which we have to really learn. So then she said, okay, you don't want to kill him, I can understand, but you put water and you convert him to Muslim. He said, that is very easy. So those days, they'll take water and throw on a Hindu, a Muslim or an untouchable, they throw, then they cannot become again back to Hindu. These were done as a ritual by some caste people. Caste system, casteism had taken over. So they used to throw water and they made him a Muslim. So he went and approached some priests and he asked, now I have been converted to Muslim, but I have faith on our Vedas, please convert me back. So you know what kind of solution they were saying? They were saying, no, you have to drink 1 liter of lead, hot lead, or you have to drink 1 liter of ghee if you want remedy for this. Prayashchita, atonement if you want to do, it has to be very severe kind of atonements. So he said, no, I cannot do that. So later, this Hindu Jamindar was also devoted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, these are all not required, you go to Vrindavan. So he went to Vrindavan and he started doing his devotional activities. So we should know there are rituals, but the same rituals can become obstacle for practicing a basic devotional life, basic spiritual life. So these rituals in the Vedic literatures, they are not created by some caste system. Like a person will get something to his head. So these people they should not, they are like a lot of differences they show between different castes, which is not there in the Vedic literature. In the Varnashrama Dharma, there is no differentiation to keep them far away, untouchability. These and all were not there in the Vedic system. 200 years when Britishers were there, the Sati system was abolished. So this Sati system abolishment started because the people who of certain caste system, they used to say your husband has died, so you have to break the bangles and erase everything, and you have to wear a white color sari, you shave your head, you have to be crying, you cannot laugh. You cannot go out. Such kind of rituals. Certain rituals are mentioned in the Vedic literature. We can compare rituals like academic education. Just like academic education, we go to college and we have certain kind of rules and regulations, some principles given, but it is meant to achieve something. Our present pandemic rules and regulations of people becoming mad of wearing mask, and mask is important, we require to wear, but there are different opinions what kind of mask you have to wear, whether you have to wear always or when you are going out, like that there are different opinions, but anyway wearing a mask is good. But there are other rules and regulations. You have to wash your hand. So if there are certain people who get into their mind so much that they have to wash their hand, again they come, again they wash their hand, they come. They are getting into mental depression. So these rituals are like academic rules and regulations, but they have a purpose. Purpose is good hygiene, purpose to have a good immunity. But if you don't understand that, then if you only follow some rules and regulations, these rituals, they have no value. The real purpose of ritual is to control our mind. The yoga system was meant to control our mind, to finally dedicate our energy, our vital energy, in service of the Lord. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. You have to remember me in all circumstances. Mam anusmaraja yuddhacha. You just remember me and fight. Krishna is not saying you sleep. Oh, close your eyes and you sleep. He is saying samadhinaha. Samadhi means fully absorbed in devotion to the Lord. If you are working for the good of the humanity in connection with bringing people back to the real consciousness, to devotion to the Lord, that is a real activity. When Krishna is saying to fight against adharma, it is real activity. You cannot think that, oh, I am doing adharma and not fight. A soldier has to go and fight. He has to defend for his kingdom, for his people. Then he becomes a real warrior. Otherwise, these rituals have no value. A recent news where people who are stealing, they have seen that in CC cameras, some few thieves went to steal something in some place. So when they were trying to steal, they saw that they are washing their hand and keep following all the hygiene principles which are mentioned. They are wearing masks, they are using hands, sanitizing their hands, and then stealing and going. So if you follow all the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the Vedic literature, but if you have no devotion, you are not a lawful person to God. You don't follow what Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita. You only want to say, I am so great, and after that all the rituals what you are following is only meant for you, for your sense gratification. You have no purpose of God. You want to be the center of everybody. If somebody says that you are not God or you are not the important person, you will say God is wrong. Anything connected to God is wrong. So this is atheism philosophy. And people nowadays, everything is a business. Spirituality has become a business. They sell mantras. You chant some 2-lettered word and next 3 months we can make you like God. This was very famous in 1960s when the Indian spiritualists, they used to go and present spirituality means you have to get some mantra, and that by that mantra you will get all blissful knowledge, everything you will get, and you will become very happy. And foolish people, they will go and they will think that I have got this mantra, then if I do this mantra, I will achieve something great in the world. Yeah, definitely mantras are mentioned in the Vedic literature and other spiritual literatures. But if you chant some mantras and follow the rules and regulations, the spirit is to become the devotee or the lover of God. The lover of God means you love each and every living entity. You will not say, I love God, but I will kill any other animal. I love God, but I will kill my wife. I love God, but I will kill my children. I love God, but I can do smuggling. I can take alcohol. I can do any nonsense I want. But I claim to be I am a very great devotee. So this is called nonsense. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, these people are called Mudas. Muda means a fool or a donkey. There are 4 animals especially mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam especially. So they are called as Svavid Varaha Ustrakaraihi. Svavid Varaha is, there are, Sva is dogs, Vidvaraha is, there are 2 kinds of hogs or pigs. So that kind of hogs are stool eating hogs. Ustrakaraihi is, one is donkey and one more is camel. So this camel, what it does is, it will go in the desert, there are thorns, and it starts eating the thorns. The camel has a habit of, when it is eating, it starts enjoying the thorns eating. What is thorns? They are all sharp. They are grown in the desert. And it cuts its tongue and blood starts oozing out. When blood starts oozing out, it gets a taste and it starts feeling very tasty. This Ustra, this camel is compared to a man who is extensively trying to enjoy sexual life. But what is sexual life is? Sexual life is nothing but you are losing your semen. And we know according to medical terms that if a semen has to be generated, you have to burn or you have to drain a lot of blood. I don't know exactly how much blood. Some people say 200 ml blood for few drops of semen. The medical terminology they may know. But can you imagine, even your half liter of blood goes away, with your semen going out, you become drained out. That's why when people have sexual life, if they have masturbation, what happens? They lose all their energy. It is said that when you are drinking hot milk, the sadhus and the previous Vedic practices in Ayurveda is, you can take hot milk which goes to the brain. The hot milk actually can regenerate your brain cells. That's how they become very sharp. That's why the celibacy can give you so much of energy. But this celibacy is also subordinate, substitutes. We cannot say that is ultimate. For us, everything should be used for service of the Lord. If you have just become a sannyasi, it is not use. If you are just controlling your senses, maybe your energy will raise yourself and it go. Your brain is very, very sharp. You become very sharp. You have a lot of memory. But suppose you are dushkriti, your brain is so sharp, but your brain is always thinking, how can I go and kill people? So that is not a right kind of attitude. So this people who are like camels, they will be trying to enjoy sexual life, but actually they are not enjoying. They are actually draining their own energy. That's why after some time they will lose all their energy and they become impotent. And they cannot really have good family life. And a lot of potent man and potent women come together and immediately they used to have children. Nowadays, because of food problems, there is no proper air. Because of all this, most of the women and men, they are impotent. Either because of bodily issues or nutritional issues or of excessive sexual indulgence, for whatever reasons, they are becoming impotent. You cannot enjoy. This body is meant, if you are able to use this sexual life for procreating children. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Dharma viruddho kamosmi bharatashravaha. Any sexual life which is used for procreation of children, that is considered to be dharma. That is Lord Himself. That is not adharma. The spirituality does not say that you cannot have children, you cannot have sexual life. It doesn't say. You can have sexual life for procreating children. So does it mean that husband and wife, they cannot love each other or they cannot share their feelings? No, it's not like that. It only means that you should be a responsible human being. Whatever you are using your senses, matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. You should know how to tolerate your tongue, your stomach and your genitals. All are in straight line. Ayurveda, it says if you are able to control the tongue, you will be able to control your belly. You will be able to control your belly, you will be able to control your genitals also. How will you be able to control your tongue? Your tongue should vibrate the names of the Lord. Like when we go to Jagannath temple, we recite the names of Lord Jagannath, which were recited by Lord Chaitanya, written by Adi Shankara Acharya. He says, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Jagannatha, oh my Lord Jagannath, please let me get your vision. Jagannatha Swami Nayana, from my eyes, Patagami Bhavatu Me. Let me get your vision. Let me able to see you. For every shloka, devotee is feeling, I want to see my Lord. So our eyes are meant for seeing the Lord. Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Our tongue is meant for vibrating the names of the Lord. If the same tongue, if it is not meant for vibrating the Lord, then this tongue is compared in the Vedic literature just like a frog making noise. The frog makes blah 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 blah, some sound it makes, and immediately it gives signals to snake. The snake will immediately come and eat it off. See, if our tongue is vibrating all wrong things in the whole life, at the time of death, you will die like a frog. And we are having ears. And these ears are compared to snake holes. In the snake holes, what happens? The mouse makes holes and it stays there. But the snakes, they go inside, kill the mouse and they stay there. So if our ears are not meant to hear for the Lord, they are compared to snake holes. Our eyes are compared to be just like the peacock feather has eyes on it. Our eyes are dead eyes, just like a blind man also sometimes has an eye, but it actually gives pain to him. What is the use of such kind of eyes? So we have a tongue, and this tongue has to vibrate right vibrations, and that vibrations gives enthusiasm. If you can experiment yourself. If you are chanting some material vibrations and you are chanting spiritual vibrations, you see how much of happiness you can get. So sometimes this is thought as hypnotism. Hypnotism means they constantly give us they give us continuous suggestions, they give us advice, they give us counsel, and they keep on saying the same thing. Please do this. Tomorrow onwards, you will give up your bad habits, you will give up tobacco. Like that, they keep on vibrating, they give suggestions. By giving that all those things, one day you'll start thinking, yeah, this is bad, I will not do. So they think that by you are vibrating the names of God also is like that. So no, you try to hypnotize yourself and try to say that this petrol is water, this oil is water. You keep on hypnotizing. The oil will never become water, and water is never oil. The water quenches our thirst. When you drink, you will feel satisfaction. Not that you can drink oil and say, or milk also. You cannot drink milk when you are having thirsty. You want water only. So, you will require what has to be taken exactly. It is there in the Vedas. Vedas is knowledge. So, you have to take water. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that even the water, rasoham apsu kaunteya, I am the taste of water. Of all the liquids actually. That's how, suppose somebody likes to enjoy some taste, and he can recognize in the taste also Krishna. If he can recognize in the taste, this taste is, what taste is there, that is coming from God. So this if he recognize. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Vibhuti Yoga, Krishna explains that how he is the sun, how he is the moon. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, among the stars, he is the moon. Nakshatranam aham shashihi. Similarly, he says, how among the immovable things and the Himalayas. See, Himalaya is so huge, you cannot move it. Like that, among the taste, rasom apsu kaunteya, prabhasmi shashisuryayoho. If you see a great thing like sun and moon, these are all, what is that? Tejasvinamaham. Among whatever you see splendorous thing, lot of things are shining, dazzling. They just spark of the splendor from the law for God. It's all just spark of His splendor. So the Lord is so great. People don't know how people say God is great. But for them great means you pray to God, God, please give me, please take care of my life. I am getting a lot of financial trouble, this problem, that problem. I cannot tolerate so much of problems right there. So God gives us some blessings. Yeah, God is great. God is not great only for giving an order carrier. God is not meant for only supplying things. God without asking also He will supply you things. God according to your karma also He will supply you things. That's why people who do some good activities or who know how to lead lives, so why should I go to God? I know how to be healthy. I know how to do good activities. Why God is required in my life? So the aim of life is not only to just be happy temporarily, you keep your body well. Bhagavad Gita is giving basic teaching. At least you keep that better. People don't know to be happy even on bodily platform. That's why Krishna in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is saying, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhe. You just Shita Ushna Tam Titikshvasya Bharata. Please tolerate. Please tolerate. Don't run away from your life. Life has become so miserable for many people. Few days back also we were seeing in newspapers that in some entrance examination for their engineering college, one girl, she didn't properly perform, so she hanged herself in the ceiling. Before that she has taken a selfie and she has sent to her father or somebody. Then what she is feeling is, if I don't perform properly, my parents will become unhappy, so I am dying. Whether parents will become happy because you are dying? Never. So people don't know what is their goal of life. They are thinking passing in an entrance exam is my goal of life. Some people think that getting a good job is my goal of life. Satisfying my husband is goal of life, or wife is goal of life. Satisfying my boss is goal of life. So people really don't know what is goal of life. And Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, the goal of life is what? To know who are you? Who am I? So we are different from this body because we are seeing our body is dying. It doesn't remain. And we have given extra intelligence to know about our life. When we are having our life, why should we engaging it just to tolerate this life? Our eyes are working, our nose are working, ears are working. Suppose there is some supply chain not happening, should I die for that? So if the children are trained from childhood, see, respect your other siblings, respect your neighbors, they will become excellent human beings. Give it to others, give something what you are having to others, make them happy. Then they will see, oh, it's very nice. They become happy. But that is not the end. Why we do yoga? Why we do all these things? Why do we tolerate things? We are getting higher happiness. But this higher happiness is also a bodily happiness or a mental happiness or an intellectual happiness. We have to take Brahmananda, spiritual happiness. This spiritual happiness can also happen by stopping your activities. There are two kinds of happiness happens. Generally, when you are suffering with fever, after some times your fever has gone away, like somebody says you are corona, you have got pandemic, now you have to be in quarantine. Oh, I am in lot of trouble. So then after some time you will come out of the hospital. Then you will be rejoicing, oh, I am very happy now. But after some time you will forget again, all your troubles are there. You are having your loan or your friends are keeping troubling you. So all those things are still continuing. So where is happiness? So sometimes people think, oh, let me take alcohol, lot of problem is there. Next day morning, your all troubles are there even if you take alcohol. So to try to tolerate, people try to stop temporarily their problems. And they start thinking that is happiness. People take cigarettes or they smoke or they watch movies one after one, just to change their mind frames. One frame I changed from dukkha, I am in trouble, so let me see some comedy. And from comedy they get saturation point, they go to some suspense. From suspense they go to something else. So you are constantly changing like this, either in your life or in a story or in imagination. So life cannot be done like that. Your life is meant for tolerance. And that tolerance is not meant only in a senses platform. But that is a temporary, but it's an important platform. So we have to tolerate our life so that our life will go to a higher platform. If you don't tolerate, you will become a demon. If you tolerate also for getting some higher power only for body, then also you are a demon. There was one Lord Shiva's devotee. He was Ritasura or Rukrasura. We call it very famous as Bhasmasur. He went to Kedarnath. And you know how people, when they go, they pray for the Lord for getting some material blessings. So he also went there and he performed some yajna. So yajnas are made for offering to the Lord. So he started doing yajna, sacrifice, and he was generally what we put for havan, for sacrifices, there is wooden sticks and they start pouring ghee and many things. But this was a demonic person, so he saw that the Lord Shiva has to come immediately. So he did this worship for 7 days, and after 7 days also he could not see Lord Shiva. So this demon, what he did was, he started cutting his flesh and putting into the fire. So Lord Shiva was seeing, getting horrified, what is this fellow doing? Like if you have, this is a very natural thing. If suppose somebody is trying to kill themselves, commit suicide, you will become compassionate. What are you doing? It's not that we are pleased with them. So Lord Shiva also was not very pleased with this fellow. Lord Shiva or any other devotee of the Lord Narayana, nobody will become pleased with a person who is trying to torture themselves. So he is not tolerant. And other side, he wants to see, like when a devotee of the Lord, they say that God, the devotee doesn't want to see the Lord, but he acts in such a way that the Lord sees him. This is the attitude of a devotee. But for a demon, he wants everything in front of him. He wants the deity to come in front of him and bless him. Oh, you take this, you want this, I will give you this. So this demonic person also was like that. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva, that to make it happen, the Lord Shiva now appeared so that this fellow will not get into a suicidal mode. The Lord Shiva is called Trilinga. Trilinga is also connected to 3 modes. He is a master of all the 3 modes, 3 gunas. So his compassion is coming from Sattva Guna. He immediately came and said, what are you doing? I am pleased by devotion. I am not pleased by you are cutting this flesh. The Lord Shiva is very compassionate. So he doesn't want somebody to be killing himself. So as a merciful Lord, he asked, what do you want? So he said, I want a boon where I take a hand and touch on their head. They should immediately turn into ashes. Such are the desires of demons. I have told you other times also, like Bhima, Arjuna, they are all very powerful. When a devotee has power, or a good human being, when he is having power, a military man, he knows how to fight. He would have had a lot of training in his camp. But when he comes to his village, when some people are fighting each other, he will not want to go and show his military skills with ordinary people. Similarly, a good person, he doesn't want to, as a good person doesn't want. Similarly, a demon, he is the total opposite person. He wants to show all power, even with a small individual child or an individual personality, anybody he wants to show power. So demonic people will ask such kind of boons, and Lord Shiva, although he doesn't want, but sometimes because he is having that obligation, so he gave that boon to him. So this demon wanted to test on Lord Shiva only. So he started chasing Lord Shiva to do that trial on him. Lord Shiva is very powerful. He can kill that demon, but he has given a wish. How can he fight with him? So he was trying to move around everywhere until Lord Vishnu appeared as a Brahmana boy, and he inquired with this demon, what are you doing? He said, Lord Shiva gave me a boon and he is running away. I don't know where is he. So the Lord Vishnu, in the form of a Brahmana, a young boy, he tricked him, he put him into sweet words, and at the end he made him only touch his hand and he got killed. So this story we would have heard so many times, but what can we learn with this? A demonic person has no tolerance. Even if he gets a wish, the most powerful wish, if he can use that for a right person to kill a wrong people, then that boon has a value. The Devatas used to come and bless and give weapons. Like Arjuna had got Pashupata Astra, Karna was given Shakti weapon. So the Kshatriyas used to get weapons, but they were not using it on innocent. That's the difference between a real pious person and a demonic person. A real pious person is a Sura. A Sura or a person with divine qualities, they know how to tolerate their urges of their body and engage their mind in service of the Lord. Whereas the demons, even if they don't get something or they get something, they are not peaceful and they are always after trouble. They are after trouble, they will put people into trouble also. So Bhagavad Gita is a book of knowledge for us to learn each and everything. This is one shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Can you imagine how much wisdom is there even in one shloka of Bhagavad Gita, of able to tolerate your senses, and these senses, just like the meaning is given like summer and winter come and go, like that our miseries come and go, so we have to tolerate this thing and then we can change our lives and use our patience to serve the society, to serve the Lord and go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath.